Welcome back to Leeds Lately. This is part 3 of the Who's Going to Replace Glen Kamara Scout Report series. Now, before we get into this one, make sure you hit that big red button down below. We're trying to get to our next goal of 10,000 subscribers, and I'm uploading a lot more regularly now, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. This is episode 3. I'm going to be talking about the cheap transfer. Now, yesterday we talked about the free transfer, and before that we talked about the expensive transfer, which would be Gabriel Sara and then Stuart Armstrong on a free. Today we're going to be talking about someone a little bit more left field with no championship experience. We're going to be talking about Nicolas Castro, Argentinian midfielder from Elche in Spain. Now, Castro is 23. He is a number 10, right? And I know that people are like, oh, square peg, round holes, all this sort of thing. He is a number 10, but he does play in the central midfield role a fair amount, so he does get forward, and this is the kind of player profile I want to look at for this role, because I want somebody who can get forward. You can play as an 8, of course. Goals this season, 5, and last season, 5, and assists, 5. He's available for around 3 million euros according to Transfermarkt, which translates to £2.5 million. So it's not a huge outlay for a midfielder that is only 23 years old, of course, the youngest of the 3 that we've talked about. So a potential resale value there, and a high ceiling for a player who has done really, really well in Spain over the last sort of 365 days. So let's have a little look at his statistics. Now, non-penalty goals, 0.14, puts him in the 82nd percentile. So again, there's a theme with these players I'm looking at. They do go forward. They do get a couple of goals a season. And of course, when we talked about Glen Kamara, Gruev, Ampadu, there was no goals coming from midfield other than that weird free kick that happened in the playoffs. So we're looking at the kind of profile of player who likes to get forward, who likes to try and score goals, and really is a sort of player who can add a little bit extra to our midfield. So shots total. Now, this is one that's an impressive statistics. 3.36 shots per 90 puts him in the 99th percentile. So he's in the top 1% for shots taken. We've been so hesitant over the last year to take shots, to actually have a crack at goal and try and score. But with somebody like Nicolas Castro, he likes to go and take a shot, and that is something that we've been missing a lot, and you get to see some bangers from the edge of the box if that's the case, with the midfielders being able to shoot a little bit more, so that's always more exciting to watch as well. Assists, 0.18 per 90, which puts him in the 87th percentile, and shot creating actions, which is one that I really like, 4.09 per 90 puts him in the 92nd percentile. So the top 8% of midfielders for creating opportunities for other players, for being part of those attacks going forward. And this is what I wanted to really get into with these type of players. Can they go forward, and do they have end product? And Nicolas Castro is somebody who's proved over the last year that he does have that, and he's at such a young age where you bring him in and you can definitely bed him into that team, either bringing him forward to play him in the number 10 role when as a sort of a deputy for Aronson, for Ruter, whoever's playing there. But you can also sit him back a little bit deeper in the number 8 role and allow him to get forward and get on the attack as well. His passing is something that is really strong as well here. Passes attempted 59.8 per 90, which puts him in the 82nd percentile. So when we've looked at Gabriel Sara and Stuart Armstrong, they're all around that similar, about 60 passes per 90. In the attacking third is really, really promising and positive. Pass completion, 82.9%. Like we say every time, a high pass completion for an attacking midfielder or a number 8 box-to-box midfielder isn't always the best thing in the world, because it means they're not taking risks. So this is what you want to get through your head when you're looking at these midfielders. It's not a bad thing to not have a high pass completion rate, because it means they're taking risks. It means they're trying to play the ball in behind, and it means they're trying to open up the opposition, which is only something that you can consider as a good thing, rather than just turning around and playing it to the defence. Progressive passes, 6.16 per 90, which puts him in the 75th percentile. So whilst that's good, and that's in the top 25%, it potentially could be doing with boosting a little bit higher. You maybe want him to be a little bit more positive at times, but for the amount of money that you're paying for him, there's definitely room for improvement on him, especially considering he's only going to cost a couple of £1 million. Progressive carries, though, 2.17, which puts him in the 85th percentile. So he does like to go forward and try to take on players. And successful take-ons as well is a high one. 1.57 per 90, which puts him in the top 5% in similar leagues for midfielders. That's good. That means that he's going to drop a shoulder. He's going to go past players. He's going to try and open up space. And when we talked about Joe Rothwell in that video, and there's a YouTube short as well that I've started uploading, so go and check them out. But there's a short where I was talking to Joe about this, and the fact that you can break the lines with dribbling is something that we've not really had. When you have two players converging on the ball on a pass, they're going to come and intercept it. But if you take a man out of the game by running past him, everybody else is in disarray and they have to readjust themselves defensively. Somebody like Nicolas Castro could be a good player at picking the ball up and going past people, especially on the counter-attack. It's something that Leeds could use very, very well. Touches in the attacking penalty area, 1.92 per 90, which puts him in the 82nd percentile. So again, really, really good from him that he's getting forward. He's making those third man runs. He's going beyond the striker. I talked about this in yesterday's video. If you want more detail on it, go and have a look at yesterday's video about Stuart Armstrong. But the fact that you've got a midfielder who's willing to go past the strikers is always a good thing. Our strikers, Joel Peru and Patrick Bamford, a lot of the time like to sit on the edge of the box. So then when you get a ball coming back across the box, being cut back from the byline, it's like, well, there's nobody in the box. But if you get somebody, and I used this example yesterday as well, Will Smallbone did it against us on the last day of the season, not the playoff final, the last day. He ran through our whole defence, made a run beyond Adam Armstrong and finished the ball at the near post, and nobody was able to pick him up and to mark him. So I think that's something that Nicolas Castro can certainly do as well, given the fact it bears out in the statistics. He goes and gets on the end of the ball in the box. So it's really interesting to see that these kind of players are on a sort of similar playing field in terms of the statistics that they bear out. But obviously you look at Stuart Armstrong being 32, he's kind of coming towards the twilight stages of his career. He is an excellent player and an excellent midfielder for the Championship, but obviously his value is quite low because he's on a free and anyway because of his age. Gabriel Sara, his value is so high because he's 25, because he's done it in the Championship where he's in the public eye in England. But Nicolas Castro has been doing it in Spain and doesn't really look like there's too much recognition in terms of people wanting to pick him up and sign him. So I think it would be a quite shrewd signing, to be honest, to be able to pick up Nicolas Castro for £2.5 million. Who would I get? Realistically, I think the 49ers should attempt to get Gabriel Sara. So that's the expensive option. I think if that fails, I also think they should look at Nicolas Castro, somebody who's 23, has got a bright future ahead of him, fits that mould of having that resale value. And of course, Adam Armstrong as well would be a good option. Sorry, Stuart Armstrong as well would be a good option. But for me, I think the most realistic one is probably actually Nicolas Castro. And you could see him having a very good season at Leeds if he came in. He's not an out-and-out number 8. So that could cause issues. His defensive statistics are not great. So you might want to test him in the number 10, drop him back a little bit. It depends what you would want to do with him. But I certainly think he's a player that Daniel Farke could definitely make use of. That's going to be it for this 3-part scouting series. Thanks so much for watching it. If you haven't already, hit that big red button down below and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Thanks for watching Leeds Lately, and I'll see you in the next one.